Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome along to a virtual Circuit Zolder for finals night in the 2020 EuroNASCAR Esports Series in partnership with i-cin.com and Sim Racing League IT. Mark Werrell that's chatting to you now. It all comes down to this evening, this fantastic circuit, which this part of the Limburg area of Belgium, racing's been going on since the 1950s. Of course, it saw Formula One. First time F1 ever visited was 1973, and of course, it's continued to visit this circuit in this part of Belgium until 1984, but largely it's played home and host to the finals of both the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series over the course of the last few years, and it was the final venue for the Esports Series in 2020, our inaugural series as well. It is finals night, which means it is double points night as well. We are on this 4 kilometre or 2.485 mile Zolder circuit, and it's all to play out for over the course of the qualifying session, the heats that we will see, but there are no points allocated for any of those. All of the points, the double points, come in the final. So rather than it be 40 points for the race win, it's 80 points for the race win this evening. And therefore, if you finish in second place, it's not 35, it's 70, and so on it continues. We'll keep you abreast of all of the championship permutations, but it's surely largely going to come down to two drivers who seem to have had the pace and be the most consistent throughout the year, that being current championship leader Guillaume de Flandre, who is just 6 points ahead of Tobias Downhauer coming into this evening's racing. But as it's double points, mathematically, there are still many drivers that could walk away with the championship crown. It is perfectly poised. We're hoping that we're going to have a chat to a very special guest that's going to join us in the commentary box in a few moments. But I want to catch up with my co-commentator, who is also driving again. So it's great to see him back after not feeling particularly... he was a little bit under the weather at the previous round, but it's nice to see that Andre Weigold is back with us to join me in commentary, but also to go out there and have some fun on track, Andre. Great circuit, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Mark. Yes, last time I had a little bit of problems with my health, but not anything major. It was just, a little bit of headache, and I was not feeling well, but it's all gone. I'm totally ready for this final race here at Circuit Zolder. I'm already turning my laps in practice, and I tell you, this track is so technical. This track is so difficult to handle. You have a lot of hard braking zones. The car tends to lock the tires. You have to be very careful on the brakes and on the acceleration. So this one is for the really, really skilled drivers that have the perfect feeling for the car. To be honest, this time again, I'm not in the mix at the front, but I think I can be competitive in the back and fight some duels with guys around 25 to 30 place.
Just talk us through accelerating out of those slow corners. You've got to get on the brakes, as you say, nice and early because of the heavy braking zones. But accelerating out of the corners in these cars is critical. It's so easy to spin the rear wheels up, isn't it, and turn the car in the wrong direction or lose time on the way out.
Yes, totally, because those cars are so powerful with the V8 engine, a lot of torque, and you feel it. You have to be very careful, and we have a lot of elevation changes on that track too. So you have bumps, you have a little bit of a jump after the first chicane on the back straight, and you have to be careful there, because when the car moves up and you lose the downforce and the back, you can spin very quickly. So you have to be very careful, patient on the acceleration and also on the brakes, because the brakes are the main point in my opinion, because when you lock them, you're going to miss the chicane. This is 100%. When you miss the braking point, you lock the tires, you're going to miss the corner, the turn, and then you have serious problems.
In terms of the championship, obviously, you don't need to worry about the championship permutations, but Tobias Downhauer and Guillaume de Flandre have been so closely matched. We can see the points on our screen now. Just 148 points for Guillaume de Flandre leading the championship. 6 points behind him is Tobias Downhauer, and 29 points off the lead is Simon Polat, with Henry Tourmala and Fred Gabillon not far away. Paul Giuffroux on the same points as Fred Gabillon. Anything could happen this evening. We don't know who the second ever esports champion is going to be.
Yes, Guillaume de Flandre and Tobias Downhauer were incredibly fast in this season, and they are 100% the favorites here. And I think it's going to be one of those guys. And you already told we have double points on the line, and the guy who's winning, let's leave out any bonus points, is going to be the champion. I think we have a close race coming up here on this very special track, and I really like the feeling to be on a virtual track that is hosting the real live NASCAR Whelen Euro
Yeah.
Series finals. So this is something special.
And we've mentioned it before, we've got so many fabulous circuit partners that work with us, and it is wonderful that with the support that we get from iRacing as well, that we can go to one of the real circuits that we race on, and has held our finals more occasions than any other circuit Zolder. It's a great place to be. It doesn't matter whether it's in real life when we get there in 2021 or virtually. It's just a nice place to be.
Yes, I think my first EuroNASCAR race here was in 2016, when I remember right. This must have been the year when Jeff Gordon was the Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. You have one of the biggest, the greatest stars of NASCAR racing doing those famous words in motorsports, and you have the feeling. Every time I see Zolder in another series or on TV, I always think about, oh yes, I want to go back to those EuroNASCAR finals, because the American fan fest behind it, the things the spectators can do, hopefully again in 2021, is just great. And when we have no public here, we have great action on track. So even if the guys have to watch the races on TV, they will not be disappointed, because this track offers so much action.
How long is ago still left in free practice there? Because you're obviously inside the game, able to tell. Must be heading towards qualifying shortly.
Let me see. I have no notification from race control right now. So
okay.
I think it's just a few minutes ago away from qualifying.
I've muted race control. There's too much traffic on that channel. What we will see over the course of this evening, ladies and gentlemen, for those that are watching, you'll see various banners come up as well that will show you all of the dates that are for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So this is the final round of the Esports Series, but of course we're going to go racing for real very, very shortly indeed. And you will see throughout the course of this evening various banners coming up which will give you all of the dates for the calendar as it currently stands. Now, one of those dates is still to be confirmed. That's the date for Vallelunga, which should have originally opened up our championship season in the middle of May. That date has now been taken over by Valencia, and the replacement date for Vallelunga is still to be confirmed. But you will see all of the dates for the 2021 season coming up. So stay in touch with us as well. Social media, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, or EuroNASCAR.com. Keep your eye on all of our social media channels. Keep your eye on our website, because without question, Andre, we've got another season of pure racing coming up.
Oh yes, we have. And the amazing thing is we have a little bit of a taste what's going to happen in the 2021 season, because those guys here on track are the real life drivers that are competing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And we have a great mix of team members and guests like me that are also on the track in the virtual world. But when we see Tobias Dauenhauer, we see Simon Pilat or Frédéric Gabillon and guys like that, those are the heroes of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in real life, and they are competing here in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series 2, like in the US when we have the Invitational NASCAR Series on iRacing. So this is just great stuff to see the stars of the series, not only in the real world, but also in the virtual world racing here.
I'm going to bring in another star as well now, so thank you, Andre, for chatting to us, but I'm going to bring in another star, because without him, the Esports Series, and without his company that he represents, the Esports Series wouldn't even be going ahead. So I'm going to bring in Otto Zebany, if I may, who is the Sales and Marketing Director for iRacing. Otto, it's great to chat to you again. Fantastic that yet again this great relationship we've got between the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and iRacing, it continues to strengthen in terms of the partnership, because I gather in 2021 for the first time for real we'll have iRacing branding on the cars when they head out on circuit. So wonderful relationship that we have with you.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, star is a very strong word. I will accept it. Not very often am I called a star, but thank you very much for your kind words. We are thrilled to be a part of this virtual series. Jerome and I have gone back for years now, it seems, and we talked about doing something in the last few years, seeing it come together to the level that it has, and to seeing such great competition with all the professional drivers in the series, in this virtual series. It is an extremely exciting time for us, and a humbling time. I mean, we really, really appreciate being a part of this series.
I suppose as a company for you, we love your support. It's an ever developing product that we'll talk about as well. But whilst the world is in a strange place at the moment, iRacing has probably been riding on the crest of a wave over the course of this last 12 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, as devastating and as awful as this pandemic has been, people were home going stir crazy, not knowing what to do. And iRacing and sim racing and racing games in general really have gotten a great boost, a shot in the arm, so to speak. And so, yeah, I mean, we have experienced exponential growth, and it continues even as things start to get better. We really haven't seen anything tail off, and that's exciting because I think we've introduced the sport of sim racing and really that other arm of real world motorsport to a huge group of people that maybe were kind of sitting on the fringe, but really didn't give it a fighting chance. And I think now that they see how exciting and how compelling and how immersive it is, I think I think everyone has come to the realization, hey, what have I been missing here? And so I think it's good for sim racers. I think it's good for real world motorsports. I think it's good for the entire ecosystem. And so we're excited to continue to grow motorsports well into the years to come.
It's growing that motorsport. It's also evolving the product as well. You look at what iRacing has recently done with the release of the Hockenheim circuit. Again, one of our fantastic circuit partners. They've got 2 cars represented on the grid this evening. Does that sort of pave the way for other European circuits maybe to be released? And of course, other things that you're doing in terms of creating other road courses, Chicago, for instance.
100%. So you kind of touched on 2 different things there. So with NASCAR and our partnership, I mean, they've really embraced what we've done. I mean, we've been partners for years, over a decade, but really the last couple of few years, we've really strengthened our partnership where we are helping develop circuits and tracks and working with NASCAR and the next gen car and doing all kinds of production R&D projects that we were never a part of. And I think they say, hey, you know what? The fidelity that iRacing brings to the table can help NASCAR and, again, motorsport in general. Chicago just being an example. There was a desire to say, hey, let's do something cool, right, and different. And so they said, hey, let's work together and develop a virtual track and see if it's any good, right? And so the Pro Invitational will be heading there in a couple of months, and I mean, who knows where that may lead to, right? Yeah, right. I mean, so hopefully, that it'll put on a good show. People will be excited not only in Chicago, but regionally, nationally, and globally, because ultimately, we know globally, road racing is king, right? So NASCAR has always been that oval track, and we've always kind of scattered in the road racing, but I think as we look to gain a larger fan base and get people excited, road racing is exciting racing, right? Especially if you add that kind of intense racing that NASCAR offers, right? So road racing is great, but I mean, as we all know, open wheels, you can only do so much, right? You get these NASCAR cars, you can be twice as aggressive, right? And you can bang doors, push the guy out of the way, go to the front, So I think that the type of racing that NASCAR offers, and then you just lend itself to road racing. For me, it's a natural marriage. It's something that we should be doing way more of. And NASCAR is going to COTA this year, going to Road America. Yep. I mean, now with the Daytona Oval and the Charlotte Roval.
Yeah.
There's more road racing on the NASCAR circuit than ever before, and EuroNASCAR has been doing it all along, right? So it's almost like we're following you guys, over here in the States, saying, hey, these guys have something over here, and we should probably take a chapter out of that book.
We set the trends, did we? But I know you're a huge fan when it comes to NASCAR and road courses. You were talking, just very quickly, my final question before we have to sort of look towards qualifying that's just starting. You were saying about doing something different and doing something cool and your relationship with NASCAR. Bristol Dirt, different, cool. You've got that as an iRacing product now. What a great weekend last weekend.
Simply a blast. I mean, and so these are the kind of things that we want to be ahead of, right?
Yeah.
Anything that's new and interesting and different, something that's going to engage a different audience, let's do it. Let's be a part of it. And that's why, and you'll see, kind of going back to your original question. I know you're tight on time here, but I mean, tracks coming up. I mean, so Hockenheim just introduced, right?
Yeah. Red
Bull Ring. It's coming. It's real soon.
Not kill. Yeah, not kill. Yeah.
Hungaroring.
Wow.
These are all tracks that are already in production. Okay, so we have a conscious effort to do more tracks in Europe because we feel that's a huge growth area for us. And so with the help of EuroNASCAR, the help of more tracks and more partners, I think the service will continue to grow, not only regionally, but globally, and ultimately that'll help everyone. So I mean, we're very excited about the future.
Well, so are we, Otto, and thank you so much for all of your support and iRacing support for both the inaugural season and for this season. We couldn't do it without you guys, and everybody on the team, we're so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and again, very excited for the upcoming season. Looking forward to seeing some old faces as well as some new.
Well, thanks for joining us. There we go. Otto Zebedee, who's the Sales and Marketing Director for iRacing, one of many key supporters and partners that we have in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Well, qualifying has now just got underway. This will set the grid for the heats. So we have mentioned it several times before as to how this works. But if you're just tuning in for the first time because it's the final, this is qualifying session, and this will, in reality, set the grids for the heat. So in other words, the cars that qualify in an odd number, so first, third, fifth, seventh, will all start in heat number 1, and that will form the grid order. The cars that qualify second, fourth, sixth, eighth will all head to heat number 2 if they qualify in an even number, and they will line up on the grid in that respective order as well. So this is just for qualifying for the grids. This does not carry any championship points, and we are looking at Guillaume de Flandre, we are looking at Tobias Downhour, I ought to say just briefly there, who is the man who is lying second in the championship standing. A quick look now at Simon Palat, who is third in the championship standings. He's only 29 points off the lead, Simon Palat, so he'll be hoping to get a good points haul this year. He finished fourth in the rookie standings in EuroNASCAR 2 last year when he was racing for a team. He's racing for DF1 in 2021. We did see a bit of Simon in the 2020 Esports Series. He is currently third quickest at the moment. All the familiar names at the sharp end of the grid. Guillaume de Flandre is quickest, as you can see on your screens, 1 minute 32.7 exactly. Tobias Downhour is 88 thousandths of a second off him. That bodes well, doesn't it, for a good race later on. Simon Palat is third, but is just headed towards the pit lane. Alessandro Brigatti is also in the pit lane. He sits there fourth at the moment. Yuli Stelso is fifth, and Vladimir Choices is sixth. As we look at Francesco Garisto, who just moves all the way up to 14th. He was down, in the 20th, mid-20s there. Great lap from Francesco Garisto. And he needed that as well, Francesco Garisto, because he is looking to try and see how far up the order he can move that 148 car. He's had a bit of an up and down season, really, Francesco. Has got involved in a few incidents, has had the pace. He's lying 31st in the championship standings coming into this one, and we are now halfway through this qualifying session. Down the back straight in towards the cleaner chicane, where all of the cars will use as much curb as they can. They might get themselves a little bit airborne there. Nice to see also, I'm going to mention this, Marco Steep Motorsport have finally, I think, heeded what I've been saying since the beginning of the season. They've changed their liveries. That livery might look familiar. That's the number 48 car of Yevgen Sokolovsky, but all of the other liveries have largely changed, which from a commentary perspective doesn't half make things a lot easier when you can't see the number of the car. Here's Maxi Heilig. So good to see Maxi Heilig out there and circulating on board car number 322. Driver who uses hand controls. He's a fantastic para athlete, is Maxi Heilig. Has competed at World Championship level and has been right at the, I think top 3 in the world at the 800 metres in the wheelchair events that he takes place in. So drives with hand controls and is not a slow driver at all. So fantastic to see Maxi Heilig out there. Delighted to have him on board. Garisto heads back over the start-finish line. What can he do that time through? not a bad lap for Francesco Caristo. New car for the championship this weekend. That is Miguel Gomez, who is racing for Marco Steep Motorsport. His is the red car with the orange flash down the centre of it. It's done a chunk of amateur karting in the past as Miguel Gomez has been sim racing for the best part of about 8 years now. Tested NASCAR Whelen Euro Series cars in the past. We have seen him racing as well. He's done a bit of European late model racing, and we have it in the UK, the pickup truck racing championship. He took it around there on the very sadly closed oval circuit that we had in the UK. Rockingham Motor Speedway has now closed its doors, but he did do a pickup truck race there, if memory serves me correctly, Miguel Gomez. So car number 146 is 18th quickest. How is Andre Weigold getting on in qualifying is the big question. He's shaking his head is the answer. Andre, how did it go, mate?
You know my tactics. It's always the same. I'm being a little bit slow to be at the end of the grid and then just pass wrecked cars. I do not change my my plan because, yeah, you know, those guys at front are incredibly fast and they are fighting for a championship. I don't want to be part of that. So the major problem I had was that in the first lap, in the in lap, out lap, I cut the chicane, so my first lap did not count, and in the second one, I did not risk too much. I think I could have been a little bit better around Maximilian Heileck and Rien Janssen. I think this is definitely my target, and also when I look at the qualifying times, I could have been around Patrick Hendricks, Roy Hendricks, Justin Kuhn, something like this around. That's my pace.
Early 20s, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's what I can do. But let's see for the race. You know, the first corners are very chaotic sometimes in those races. So I just wait and see and then take advantage of the chaos ahead of me. That's what my plan is. So everybody's hoping for a clean race, me not.
Philip Bittersville going beautifully well at the wheel of the American Fan Fest car there. He has just moved up to 4th quickest. Alessandro Brigatti has moved up to 5th quickest. We're looking at Leo Colavita at the moment, who is currently sitting 11th fastest. His Sector 1 and Sector 2 times not suggesting there's going to be an improvement there. The tail end of the car almost got away with him there as he dived into the braking area for Boulderback Booked. He accelerates the car out of Jochen Rindt Booked and down the straight up towards the Jackie X chicane. That's the final chicane here at Circuit Zolder, a 4 kilometre or 2.485 mile circuit. I don't think we're going to see an improvement for Leo Colavita, who I think is probably still the youngest driver we've got in the field this evening. Leo is still only 16 years of age. We saw him race last year with us, and it was a slower lap from Leo. It's only 40 seconds remaining as well, so there's not that many cars out there circulating. Maxi Heilig was still out on track. This is going to be Daniel Adam, very experienced esport racer representing the American Fan Fest, which takes place at Hockenheim, the circuit that we were at last time through, and he does not get the lap in, so he is going to, at best, line up, 29th, I think that would be. Big spin for Alessandro Brigatti, pushing the limits, I'm afraid, and that looked like that was coming out of the Villeneuve chicane and up towards Turleman Bocht, so no improvement there. Philip Beresville, though, is still out there and circulating, but with seconds to go, the checkered flag will come out. He will not be able to complete the lap, I'm afraid, because when the flag comes out, the 10 minutes is reached. You don't complete the lap. The way iRacing works is that the checkered flag is thrown. So that is qualifying done and dusted. Let's just have a look at the way that they will have completed their qualifying. So Guillaume de Flandre, fastest of all. He will head to pole position for the heat that's coming up shortly, heat number 1. Tobias Downhower, just 87 thousandths of a second slower, so he will take pole for heat number 2. Simon Palat was 3rd, 0.3 of a second off the fastest time in the session, and half a second off the fastest time was Philip Bittersville, representing Hockenheim in the American Fan Fest. 5th quickest was Alessandro Brigatti, 6th quickest was Ulysse Delso, 7th was Vladimiras Joyce, going well again for Academy and Alex Caffey Motorsport, with Davide Delara for Not Only Motorsport in 8th place. Henry Tuamala for TF1 was 9th, and Fred Gabillon was 10th for RDV competition. Leo Colavita 11th, Paul Giuffre in 8th place with in 12th place with Chris Lehman in 13th, Gordon Barnes 14th, and Centre Vauxatorium in 15th place. Alan Muscaron only 16th, a little bit lower than I would have expected from him. Stefano Gustavaglia is 17th, head of Justin Kuntz, who's 18th, Jakob Krafek 19th, and Miguel Gomez joining the championship for Marco Steep Motorsport, the only Portuguese driver on the grid, in 20th. Then it's Francesco Caristo from Patrick and Roy Hendricks, Yevgen Sokolovsky from Rien Janssen, Maxi Heilig, Andre Weigold 27th, and that is the way that we will leave it there, because we are already And out to start, heat number 1. Now, this again carries no championship points. Just to clarify that, no championship points. This, in reality, is the heat that will then form the grid positions for our championship race, our double championship race. So, in other words, whoever wins this heat here will head towards pole position for the final race of the season. That carries the championship points. That carries the 80 points if you claim the win. Whoever wins heat number 2 will go to the outside of the grid for that final championship race. So in reality, it gives you the row that you will start. So if you win your heat, you'll start on the front row of the grid for the final. If you're second in your heat, you'll start on the second row of the grid for the final. If you finish third in your heat, you'll start on the third row of the grid for the final race that will be coming up. And remember, these heat races are held over 10 minutes. The final race of the season, the main championship race, we've got a champion to crown this evening, remember, our second ever EuroNASCAR Esports Series champion in conjunction with i-cin.com and Sim Racing League Italy, with the help and support of the likes of iRacing. We spoke to Otto Zebedee and, of course, our great friends at TJ, who provide the titanium champions rings and championship trophy in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Without all of these key partners, we simply couldn't do it. And our new tyre partner as well, Hosier, for 2021, amongst many others that I probably haven't mentioned, but perhaps should. The likes of course, Whelen and Kennel and McDonald's. And with the great support that we get from Team FJ as well, the brains and the technical support behind the series. So, Guillaume de Flandre, Simon Palat on row number 1. It's Alessandro Brigatti and Vladimir Choitzis on row number 2. Henry Tuamala and Leo Colavita on row 3. Chris Lehman with another good qualifying lines up on row number 4 with Santa Volkswatorium. Then it's Jakob Krafik and Stefano Gustavalle, ahead of Roy Hendricks, Francesco Caristo, Reen Janssen, Andre Weigold, Daniel Adam, Alberto Panabianco, and again another poor qualifying session for Giorgio Maggi, who really seems to struggle in qualifying. Giorgio, I don't know what it is, but Giorgio is a quick Driver. He was runner-up in the EuroNASCAR 2 category back in 2018. No, sorry, he was the runner-up in 2019, I should say, Giorgio Maggi, but he really, throughout the course of this season, seems to have struggled. So he is at the very back of the grid and has got some 16 cars to try and overtake if he wants to try and grab the win. But it's all about, certainly for Guillaume de Flandre and Simon Palat, so Guillaume de Flandre leading the championship, Simon Palat third in the championship, both of those on the front row of the grid for this one. It's all about staying out of trouble, getting yourself in a strong position for the main championship race that carries those all-important double points here at Circuit Zolder, and then see at the end of the night whether you have done enough, whether you've stayed out of trouble, and whether you might be able to lift the virtual championship crown. And remember also, whoever becomes the esports champion, the team that they are racing for in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series will claim 40 championship points for the team's championship, the real team's championship. So real points up for grabs. So buckle up. We're about to go green for the first time this evening. Red lights on, lights go out. It's a good start from Guillaume de Flandre, but a better start from Simon Palat. And Guillaume de Flandre might just get gobbled up here by Alessandro Brigatti and Vladimir Choitzis. So Simon Palat leads the race. Alessandro Brigatti trying to sneak up the inside of Guillaume de Flandre, and I think has just about done it. There's contact further back, I'm afraid to say. Francesco Caristo has got tangled up, I'm afraid, and he's going to head all the way down towards the tail end of the field. I think Giorgio Maggi might have got tangled up in there as well, and Reen Jensen possibly. So that's 3 cars that have gone towards the tail end of the field. But Simon Palat leads the way here from Guillaume de Flandre in second place and Alessandro Brigatti in third. What is it? The top 7 or 8 cars have all very much broken away following the shenanigans round at turn number 1 at Erst. They head out of the cleaner chicane over Sacrament Schelling and up towards the braking area for the Villeneuve chicane, with Vladimir Choitzis having to drive a very wide car there. Henry Tuamala under pressure from Chris Lehman's newly liveried car, which seems to have a bit of an internet issue and is blinking a little bit, which must be very concerning for the drivers that are there or thereabouts where he is on the circuit. It's very difficult when you've got a car blinking ahead of you to know where it is and hope that when it reappears that there's no contact. Let's have a quick look. It was right, so there's Francesco Caristo. He got tangled up with Jakob Krafik. I think Stefano Gustavalle almost got tangled up as well. but that has put Giorgio Maggi and Garisto all the way down towards the tail end of the field. We've got an attack for the lead of the race, and Simon Palat's now under pressure from Guillaume de Flandre. The two of them absolutely together as they went in towards the braking area for the Jackie chicane, and it is Guillaume de Flandre that comes out in the lead of the race. Brigatti down into second, or up into second place, and Simon Palat down into third. So Palat just having led the race briefly, and it's the top three that have got away. Vladimir Joitsis is there in fourth place, so great driving from the Cypriot. He's the lead Ford we've got in the field, because at the moment it's a Chevy 1-2-3. The lead Ford is fourth, and the only Toyota in this heat is Jakub Krafek, who's down there in 11th position, the Czech driver. Again, another one of our circuit supporters, circuit partners, representing Autodrome Most. Great fight going on with Chris Lehman managing to keep Leo Colavita, Henry Tuamala, Santa Vauxhall, and I think Roy Hendricks all in there as well. Bouncing over the curbs, so goes Leo Colavita. Bouncing over the curbs behind him goes Santa Vauxhall, the Finnish driver. So a few problems, but they've all gathered up the moment. Let's just have a quick look. Who's this? This is Francesco Garisto with smoke billowing from the tail end of his number 148 car. So for 42 Racing, he's got little choice but to dive the car into the pit lane with all of that frontal damage, and that's going to drop him all the way towards the tail end of the field. And I have to say, I think also sadly retiring from the race, Andre Veigold. Andre, what was the problem? It looks as though you've parked the car.
Yeah, you've seen the crash in the opening corner, and I got through it without damage, but then I lost it, and unfortunately I collected Garisto. He was behind me and had no chance to avoid that one. Totally my mistake. I was a little bit too hard on the acceleration, lost the rear. I just lost control, and Garisto just crashed into me, and I think I ended both of our races.
Such a shame, because on the whole, you've had more pace than me when we've been in the practice sessions, and you've largely stayed out of trouble, and that's probably the only mistake you've made that's caused an incident all season.
Yes. Yeah, but that's racing. I think there's a time everybody's doing mistakes. So this time this was mine, and unfortunately, Francesco was part of it. So very sorry for that. I will text him right after the race. But I think we have a final race coming up, 30 minutes. And we saw in the last races, even if you come from the back or if you lose some time in the beginning, you have a lot of time to catch up again and be up front. So I think this will not ruin Francesco Garisto's evening, but I definitely destroyed a good result for him in the heat and a good starting position for the final race. But I think he's one of those fast guys that can make up some positions. But I hope he's not that angry at me.
Yeah, we'll send him a message, absolutely. We're just watching a quick replay. Roy Hendricks making a mistake at the wheel of the Hendricks Motorsport Ford, just briefly making contact with the tyre barriers. That was coming out of the Villeneuve chicane, so that's now dropped Roy Hendricks down into something like 13th position. There's a great fight going on for 6th we're looking at. This is Stefano Gustavalle fighting away with Henry Tuamala, Santa Vauxhall, and Jakub Krafek. So it's the Italian leading the two Finnish drivers, with the Czech driver at the wheel of the lead Toyota now inside the top 10. So he was in 11th. He's now up into 9th place as we go on board with the car in 7th place, which is the number 23 car for DF1 Racing, which is Henry Tuamala. Finished 9th in the Esports Series, did Henry Tuamala in 2020. He also finished runner-up in the V8 Thundercar Series in Scandinavia last year as well, when he was racing for real. He was a quick driver when we saw him in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the first time in 2019. He was the Challenger champion, finished 19th overall in the standings, but in the Challenger category, he was the champion last year. In 2019. Quick look at Jakub Krafek leaping over the curbs, looking to try and see what you might be able to do. Quick driver is the sports sales manager for Autodrome Most, who was a regular in last year's series and has been a regular with other teammates, because Autodrome Most have largely been represented by two cars throughout this season. Daniel Adam fighting away with Chris Lehman. Chris Lehman, the orange car, just behind Daniel Adam as they head over the crest, with now just 4 minutes to go and into the braking area for Boulder Booked. Little kink on the way out. You've got to be so gentle, just making sure. Race control warning for Giorgio Maggi for an unjustified risk on lap number 1. Quite what the unjustified risk is, I don't know, but that is no drive-through penalty or anything. That's just a slap on the back of the wrist at the moment for Giorgio Maggi, who is circulating as the last of the 15 cars we've still got in this heat following the retirements of Francesco Garisto and, as we heard from Andre Weigold. So De Flandre leading by 4 seconds at this stage from that car there. Alessandro Brigatti, who's there in second place. Not that far off him is Simon Palat. And then Vladimir Stoitzis. So it's a Belgian that leads an Italian, another Belgian, then a Cypriot, then 2 Italians, 2 Finnish drivers, a Czech. I think the lead German actually is down in 11th place at the moment, which is Daniel Adam. And the lead driver from the Netherlands is going to be Roy Hendricks down in 13th place. So huge amounts of nationalities represented in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Esports Series, including, of course, Portugal this evening with Miguel Gomez coming in. So accelerating their way round through the right-hander. Henry Tuamala drive-through penalty, I'm afraid to say, for causing contact with Leo Colavita on lap number 2. So that's the number 23 car, the Chevy, in the hands of the driver who is in 7th position. It is the first of those to receive a drive-through penalty. And as we know, Andre Weigold, race control is a busy place in some of these esports races. They don't necessarily get through all of the penalties when the racing is on, but it's dealt with in exactly the same way as it would be dealt with in real life, isn't it? If there's an incident, they look at the replays and they therefore make the decision as to who is the culprit.
Yes, a tough job to do, and they have a lot of pressure. I know that they can not make everybody happy. Somebody's going to complain, somebody is not happy with their decision, but those guys are doing a tremendous job in real life and also in virtual life, because they have to be quick, they have to be right, and it's very, very hard and tough to make those decisions. I know it. I'm a soccer referee now for 15 years, and I know exactly what it's like to be yelled at, that people say you don't have any clue what's going on and stuff like that. So I know it, but very important for me. Garisto accepted my apologies. That's very important for me.
It's best to get it. You beat me to what I was going to say. I was about to say, being a clerk of the course or in race control is just like being a football referee. Hats off to anybody who wants to do either, because it's not for me. But yeah, you beat me to it. Here is Giorgio Maggi. So Giorgio Maggi is conducting the drive-through penalty. Oh, and has gone way too quick into the pit lane and absolutely thumped the barriers at pit lane in. So I suspect that is the last we're going to see, I'm afraid to say, from the 23-year-old Swiss driver in this race. So we are now lacking at the battle for second. Alessandro Brigatti at the wheel of the 108 car, the 20-year-old Italian, who was 7th in the Esports Series in 2020, coming under enormous pressure from Simon Palat, and Vladimir Stoitzis right behind him. Now, Vladimir Stoitzis is one of those drivers. I've never met him because I didn't travel to any of the events in 2020. He was a rookie in the championship. I've been really impressed with Vladimir Stoitzis, both in EuroNASCAR 2 last year and in the Esports Series. He just seems to get it, doesn't he?
Yes, and I'm very looking forward to seeing him in a new form team, the Alex Caffey Academy Motorsport thing that's going on. I think they are going to improve, and he has a guy like Jacques Villeneuve in the team. So where not to learn, but from a former Formula One world champion. I think Vladimir is going to do a next step in his career, and I think he's going to be one of those guys we keep an eye on in the EuroNASCAR 2 Championship.
Absolutely, and we don't see that many Cypriot racing drivers as well, so it's great to see him. With the pride of the nation on his shoulders, really. What a fight it is, though, for second, third and fourth place. Brigatti from Palat, from Stoitzis, all still together, whilst this man out front continues to lead the race and is now on his last lap of the race as well. So we have passed the 10-minute mark, so the checkered flag will come out at the end of this one. So I don't think there's a great deal of question as to who's going to be winning this race, because he's 6.2 seconds up the road, but who's going to finish in second, third and fourth is still very much up for dispute. Brigatti from Palat, from Stoitzis, whilst our race leader is heading up towards the final corner through the left and the right flick at the Jackie X chicane, accelerating his way towards the checkered flag. It's going to be a Heat 1 win for Guillaume de Flandre, who's going to finish in second place. Brigatti's nice and neat and tidy coming out of the Jackie X chicane, so should just hang on to it from Simon Palat in second place, and Vladimir Stoitzis upholding the honour of fourth to finish in third place. Leo Colavita is going to finish in fourth, but only just though. Stefano Gustavaglia with another great run from him. Fantastic stuff for the number 354 car. He runs in the 300s because he is a team member for Cal Racing, usually engineers the number 54 car, but we've seen him on an overall podium so far this year, and that's another good run from Stefano Gustavaglia. Let's hope that he finishes the season with a high, because he was a great guy to chat to when we had a conversation with him. So last of the cars coming through, there's Henry Tuamala just coming through as the last of the finishers in 14th place, because we saw retirements for Giorgio Maggi, for Francesco Garisto, and for Andre Weigold. And once that last car's taken the checkered flag, we should be able to run you down through the order and chat to some of the drivers for that particular heat. The first heat that we've had at Circuit Zolder, this 4 kilometre or 2.485 mile circuit. Tobias Dauenhauer is going to be on pole position for this next heat that is coming up. But just to confirm the results for heat number 1, Guillaume de Flandre claims the win from Alessandro Brigatti in second place and Simon Palatti in third. It was Vladimiris Choitsist for Academy Alex Cafe Motorsport in fourth, Leo Colavita in fifth, and Stefano Gustavaglia in sixth. Santa Vauxhalltoria, Jakob Krafik and Alberto Panebianco with Chris Lehman in 10th place. Daniel Adam was 11th, Roy Hendricks was 12th, Reen Jensen was 13th, and Henry Tuamala was the last of the finishers in 14th. Retirement, sadly, for Giorgio Maggi, for Andre Weigold, and for Francesco Garisto. So let's bring in our Heat 1 winner, Guillaume de Flandre. Guillaume, congratulations. You maybe didn't lead all of the race. You just lost out at the start. But what came more importantly was you claimed the win in the end. Well done.
Thank you. Hello to everybody. I missed my start. Simon take advantage of it, but give us a good battle. But the final was good. I managed to find a good way, but Simon was not far behind, and Sandro also. I had to keep a constant speed and not to wear my tire too much. But and the race, I did a bit miss my brake in the first corner, and I go straight.
When you managed to get through back into the lead, it helped that they were fighting for second and third and fourth, and you pulled a 6.5 second lead in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. But Simon Alessandro a good battle during the race, but yeah, I take the advantage because in battle I have more free line.
Pole position for the finals, the double points paying race. As long as you finish ahead of Tobias Dauenhauer, you could be the champion.
Yeah, I tried, but Tobias is very fast, and I think the final was difficult.
Well, good luck for the final. I'm sure we'll chat to you later on. Good luck. Well done. There we go. So that was our Heat 1 winner, Guillaume de Flandre. Let's just guide you through the grid for this one. Tobias Dauenhauer and Philippe Beresvel on the front row of the grid. Yuli Stelso and Davide Delara on row number 2. Fred Gabion and Paul Dufresne on row number 3. Gordon Barnes and Alan Muscaron on 4, with Justin Kuntz and Miguel Gomez on row number 5. Patrick Hendricks and Yevgen Sokolovsky on row 6. Maxi Heilig and Aldrich Stepanovsky on row number 7. And Nave Talor and, in theory, Levi Lintercantu on row number 8, but I'm not sure that Levy is going to make the grid on this one. I'm not sure he sort of appeared even during the qualifying session, because he didn't post the time in qualifying, and I can't see his car on the tail end of the field. We'll get the race underway. Andre Weigold can join me in commentary for this one, because he's got a little bit more time on his hands for this one, but the cars are just now working their way up towards the Jackie Hicks chicane, so we'll get the race underway, and then we can chat about what we can see. Andre is watching inside the game, so you'll see the same feed as me, won't you? Yes, thumbs up, yeah.
Yes, I will see my pictures, so I can be your second pair of eyes.
Thank you very much indeed. We need them, because usually the action is fraught. So buckle up, we're about to go green for heat number 2 here. Tobias Dauenhauer and Philippe Beresvel on the front row of the grid. Philippe Beresvel not involved in the championship battle, so tucks behind Tobias Dauenhauer as they head up towards turn number 1 Erst for the first time. Davide Delara's there in third place, but under pressure from Ulysse Delso. Paul Dufresne and Fred Gabion complete the top 6, but it's a neat first few corners, 3 wide for about 8th, 9th and 10th place there, but they all seem to have gathered it up, and I don't think there was any contact, but it is Tobias Dauenhauer that leads the way. Philippe Beresvel in second position, and running a little bit wide there, I think, was Paul Dufresne, which has allowed Fred Gabion to squeeze his way through there, just running wide the 264 car. And that now puts him under pressure from the cars that are queuing up behind and slowly working their way through. Oh no, contact between Paul Dufresne and Justin Kuntz, who gets sort of bumped in towards the barriers. So Paul Dufresne, I think there, Andre, was trying to make up for the mistake he made at the previous corner, leapt over the curb, which unsettled the car, and then pushed him into Justin Kuntz, who unfortunately was the innocent party.
Yes, that's what I told you. When you are not in the right rhythm on that track, you're going to make a mistake. It's so hard to find that rhythm. This is going to be very exciting. We have Tobias Daunauer leading the race, and afterwards he's going to go into the final race, and if he's winning, he's going to win the championship. And I have a déjà vu. It's the same thing we had last year in Valencia when he and his teammate Vittorio Girelli were battling for the real life EuroNASCAR 2 championship. Let's see if Tobias Daunauer is able to sustain the pressure this time. And just one thing, I really need to, normally I won't do it, but greets to all of the EuroNASCAR fans from Francesco Garisto. He told me to tell that on live on stream, and I took him out, so I have to do this favor for him.
I'm going to ask you a quick question. You're talking about Tobias Daunauer. Can you cast your mind back to the finals of the Esports Series in 2020? Who claimed the win in the main race, the last race of the season, the double points race?
You have me on the wrong foot.
Tobias Daunauer.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Zolder. He claimed the main race. He didn't win the championship because Andre Castro claimed the main championship in the end. But we know Tobias Daunauer is quick around here because the final race last year, he was the race winner, and at the moment he is leading by 1.5 seconds from Philippe Beresvel in second place, who I think has been probably well aware that he wants to be quick tonight, Philippe Beresvel, but he's not in for the full season, as he's not represented the American Fan Fest in every round, so he's not in the championship battle. So he wants to do well, but he's a professional guy. He will want to stay out of trouble and let those guys fight for the championship, won't he?
Yes, I think so. I think when he has the chance to win the race in a very clean way, he's going to take that chance. But if it's going to be pushing a championship contender out or doing a bump and run or stuff like that, I think he's not going to do that because he knows that those guys are fighting for real life points in the team championship while he's just representing the Hockenheim ring. So I think he's going to be very clean in those races.
Of the three manufacturers represented on the grid, they're all in the top four. A Ford leads, two Chevys in second and third, but it's the Toyota Fred Gabion that sits there fourth place, under pressure from his RTV competition teammate though, which is the number 10 car in the hands of Ulysse Delso. Saw Ulysse posting on social media early on today that he's really working hard on his fitness, trying to build up that fitness again for this year, and has been working with his physician, trying to make sure that the muscles are all toned. He's working all the different muscle groups, and he's absolutely at the peak of physical fitness at the beginning of the season. We're having a great look at the battle now. Now, this is Maxi Heilig under pressure from the recovering Justin Kuntz. Remember, Justin was tipped into a bit of a spin from the car that he was doing battle with, which was Paul Dufresne. Well, now the number 99 car in the hands of the 23-year-old German, who has raced in the Camping World Truck Series in the past, as Justin Kuntz is working his way up through the order. And that's something we've mentioned a few times this year, Andre, isn't it? Now, this is the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, or the Esports Series, as we've got at the moment, but we do see many of our drivers. Let's have a quick look. Spin for Justin Kuntz, drive through for Dufresne because of the penalty. We do see many of our drivers going in and racing, whether it be in the Pinty Series, in the Mexican Peak Series, whether it be in the K&N East and the West. It could even be the likes of the Camping World Trucks or the Xfinity Series or the main Monster Energy Series. We've had several over the years, haven't we?
Yes, and that shows that NASCAR is a big family on the whole globe. We have good drivers going to Canada. We have guys coming from Mexico going to Europe. We have European guys driving in the US NASCAR series, and also exchanges between Canada and the US and Mexico and stuff like that. So when you're a NASCAR driver, and that's what I like so much, you can race in the whole world. Of course, NASCAR in North America, in the USA, is the main thing, is the big thing. But Canada, Mexico, Europe are hosting very interesting championships with a lot of potential young drivers coming to the series, trying to make their way up the ladder in NASCAR racing, but also very experienced drivers like Jacques Villeneuve. They just enjoy those type of racing, those types of cars, because we have those pure racing cars, V8 power, now big technical helps or electronic aids and stuff like that. It's pure racing, like we said, and it's pure racing in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, and Europe. And if you're doing the right career steps, you can race everywhere where you want. And that's what I like.
Absolutely, yeah. Our reigning NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR Pro champion Alan Day, not with us this evening, but he announced on social media today he's another Monster Energy athlete again for another year. So that ties up his support with them and so many companies that are supporting these drivers, because they know it's a fantastic marketplace and it has that ability to transcend over the Atlantic into the main Cup Series or Xfinity Series. We saw a couple of spins there. We saw a spin for 246 Gordon Barnes, the British driver at the wheel of his Chevy. He had a quick spin. We saw a spin for Yevgen Sokolovsky as well. So the Ukrainian now drops down to 13th position following his car just literally running slightly wide over the curb whilst he's on throttle. That unsettles the car and you could just never catch it back. But the two RTV competition teammates are busy at the moment. Another drive-through penalty, I'm afraid to say, and that is for the Israeli driver Navi Talor for causing a collision with Justin Kutz on lap number 3. Gordon Barnes trying to pick up places over Maxi Heilig, the two of them running side by side. Gordon Barnes just sneaks his way through there, driver who finished 3rd in the club challenge last year. Maxi Heilig all over the grass as a result of running out of room or talent or a combination of the two, I'm afraid to say. But what a driver Maxi Heilig is. For a driver that races with hand controls, he's an unbelievable para-athlete as well, Andre, and it just goes to show, regardless of what life has dealt you, we have some amazing drivers that compete with us in the Esports Series and the NASCAR Series, and Maxi Heilig, hats off to him. He's such a quick driver, quicker than you or I, and he's racing with hand controls.
Yes, and that also shows that the NASCAR universe is open for everybody.
Yeah.
This guy is competitive in the back, of course, like me, a little bit faster than me, and he's doing a great job. And he found a nice team with BF1 Racing from Austria that are supporting him. So
massively supporting him, yeah.
Yes, and all the guys around, they are all trying to include everyone and be part of this big family in NASCAR. And Maxi Heilig is one of those examples that, with the right effort, with the right attitude, you can do it and be part of the EuroNASCAR Esports Series.
Well, with the new potentials of having sequential gearboxes in the cars and maybe some of those coming in, wouldn't it be great to see Maxi Heilig behind the wheel of a NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, maybe doing a DF1 test or something? Maybe Norbert might be able to sort him something out with that. That would be fantastic to see and be great for the series in terms of PR as well. Davide Dallara sitting there in 3rd place, not that far ahead of the RTV competition pair, though. Frank Viola will be cheering on both Fred Gabillon and Ulysse Delso, the number 10 Chevy that we look at there in the hands of the young Frenchman. Seems to have been around forever, really, Ulysse Delso, but he's only 23 years of age, the former EuroNASCAR 2 champion. He claimed that championship back in 2018. He was 9th in EuroNASCAR Pro in 2019. The whole of RTV competition sat out the series, though, because of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. And he was not slow in the Esports Series last year either, was he? He was 5th overall in the standings, Ulysse Delso, in the 2020 Esports Series. Gordon Barnes still trying to make progress. He's now trying to pick off the next of the cars that lies ahead of him, which is going to be Aldrich Stepanovsky. He's got the inside line for that corner, but that's the outside line when they get towards the Villeneuve chicane. Can Gordon Barnes go through? Oh, yes, just about gets the car anchored up. And he's got Paul Dufresne now under attack as the next of the cars that Ulrich Stepanovsky is going to have to try and fight his way through and past. That's the one great thing I've thoroughly enjoyed about this series again. It doesn't matter what pace you have, whether you're at the front, whether you're at the back, there's always somebody to fight with, isn't there?
Yes, even I experience it with some team members and guests that we can fight very clean duels. Sometimes, you run out of talent. That's what you said earlier, and that's happened to me all the time when I see a nice battle between Geoffroy and I need to know his name. I cannot remember it 100% because he's
Aldrich Stepanovsky.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
They were battling a nice battle there, and I think we're in the last lap right now. And just one thing I want to throw in right here is we said so many names. We talked about so many drivers, but ahead of the 2021 season, Gianluca, the PR manager of EuroNASCAR, Gianluca Guiglia, and me, we started a new format in EuroNASCAR on the YouTube channel called Pure Racing Pit Reporters, and we meet those drivers, the team bosses there, and we had a hilarious episode with Fred Gabillon. We had Justin Coons, Tobias Dauer and Howers, and all those guys. So if you want, guys out there, fans, if you want to get to know those drivers, just tune in at Pure Racing Pit Reporters on YouTube on EuroNASCAR's official channel, and you get a sense how it is behind the scenes of those series and how those guys are.
I've thoroughly enjoyed watching them. I've watched all of them, and it's just because the drives are away from their normal racing environment, the pressure's off, and they can relax and be far more open. So Tobias Downhauer claims the win, which means that he's going to line up alongside his main championship rival for the final. Couldn't be better poised, could it? Philippe Beresfeld will finish in second position. Davide De Lara finishes third. Fred Gabillon just holds off his RDV competition teammate Ulysse Delceau to finish in fourth place. The Delceau will finish in fifth place. Alan Mouscron should come through in sixth. Miguel Gomez, the Portuguese driver, making his debut in the series, is already, I think, about to take the checker flag in seventh. Patrick Hendricks in eighth. Who's going to finish in ninth and 10th? The two of them just coming in towards the final chicane, the Jackie Ickx chicane, and Gordon Barnes doesn't get a great drive out the corner. Paul Dufresne might be able to sneak through here, and on the charge to the line does by 1/1000th of a second. Paul Dufresne, I think, was just about to grab that by. Gordon Barnes will finish at the bottom of the top 10 in the end, with Older Stepanovsky, Oldrich to be his full name, but Older as he's really known in the online community, finishing in 11th place. Yevgen Sokolovsky, Maxi Heilig, Justin Kuntz, Nave Talor, and Livy Lintercantu is out there, I think, in the end. So there we go. That is all of the cars over the start-finish line. So we will guide you through the results, and then we will bring in our pole sitter. There'll be a 5-minute warm-up session coming up in a few moments' time, so we can run you through the results, and then we can have a chat to our Heat 2 winner, who is already in the commentary box and ready for us. So to confirm the results then for race number 2, or heat number 2, Tobias Downhauer claims the win by 5.5 seconds from Philippe Beresfeld, with Davide De Lara in third place. Fred Gabillon leading his RDV competition teammate Ulysse Delceau in fourth, so Delceau finishes in fifth place. Alan Mouscron, Miguel Gomez, Patrick Hendricks, Paul Dufresne and Gordon Barnes complete the top 10. Older Stepanovsky was in 11th, Yevgen Sokolovsky was 12th, Maxi Heilig was in 13th place, with Justin Kuntz in 14th place, Nave Talor 15th place, and I don't think actually we did ever see Livy Lintercantu. So he has been classified in 16th, but I don't think his car ever made the grid. So Tobias Downhauer joins us in commentary. Tobias, congratulations. It's another heat win. And now the grid for the final couldn't be better poised, could it? Yourself and your main championship rival, Guillaume de Flandre, both on the front row.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good heat for me. So, yeah, we both championship leaders stay in the front position. So it's going to be an interesting race, I think. And, yeah.
I was saying to Andre Weigold in commentary, cast your mind back 12 months to the final round of the inaugural EuroNASCAR Esports Series here at Zolder in the double points paying final race. And who won it, Tobias?
Yeah, it was me. So the best condition for the race now.
It's all going to be about staying out of trouble. We saw the lightest of touches between the two of you at Hockenheim. I think it was almost a netcode issue. It's going to be close, isn't it? Both of you have raced bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel, with great respect all season. So is it just going to come down to a bit of luck and whoever gets the jump or whoever stays out of trouble?
Yeah, that's it. To be honest, I'm not totally happy with my qualifying lap. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race between me and Guillaume. And yeah, we try to do a fair race and a good show for the fans.
And when it comes down to the NASCAR Esports Series Championship, if you are the champion, you carry 40 team points through to Hendricks for the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Championship, and that could be vital for them to claim the team's championship for real when we go racing.
Yes, of course. There are good points for the team championship, so I try to do my best, and yeah, let's see.
Well, all the very best. I'll let you head to free practice or grab a bit of respite for a few minutes, because we're only 2.5 minutes away from the final lining up. Well done, Tobias.
Thank you.
There we go, Tobias Downhauer. Andre Weigold, I think, is done with his little session out in this free practice session. And chatting to Tobias, very cool, very calm, very collected. I'd be a bag of nerves at this stage. Could be the champion, so could Guillaume de Flandre, or if they both take each other out, could be someone like Simon Palat.
Yes, this is going to be the interesting part. If they are going to fly away at the front, I think it's going to be between Tobias and Guillaume. But if there's any problem in the first laps and they collide or have any trouble, then we have to take a look at Simon Pilat, for example, and we have double points on the line. There's so much that can happen in this final race. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I've chatted to Tobias last week about the EuroNASCAR Esports Series, and he told me that, of course, he wants to win it. The team wants to get the points. It has not the highest priority. Of course, the official NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in real life is the priority one, and they are preparing for that one. But in the end, when they switch when they turn the switch and they sit in front of their computers and in front of their monitors, Roy Hendricks, the whole Hendricks Motorsport team is switching to this competition mode. They want to win. They want to have the championship points. They want to have a virtual trophy in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. So before a race weekend or race day in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series, everybody is calm. But when we are online, when the servers are on, they all get into this competition mode and they want just to win. And that's so fantastic in this championship. The guys are taking it serious enough, but also having a lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah, they're having fun, but it is still serious. They're all competitors. They want to win. It's as simple as that. That competitive streak doesn't matter whether it's racing for real or virtual racing. You have that competitive streak, absolutely. So just to give you a quick idea then, because we'll go through the grid in about 20 seconds. I'll be gridding up 80 points for race winning in this one, 70 points if you are second, 68 points if you are third, and it goes down by 2 points for every position thereafter. Now, usually, if you gain the most places from your starting position to your finishing position, you gain an extra 4 points. This is the finals, which means it's 8 points available for the driver that gains the most positions relative to their starting position. If we ignore those extra 8 points for the moment, if Guillaume Deflandre wins this race, he will be the champion. It doesn't matter what Tobias Dauenhauer will do. If Tobias Dauenhauer wins this race, he will be the champion. Okay, let's say Simon Pilat were to win this race. If Simon Pilat wins the championship, then he has to hope that Guillaume Deflandre finishes in 12th position, that Tobias Dauenhauer finishes in 9th position. That's the maths. I will try and keep you up to date with the maths as we go through. I will also endeavour to keep you up to date as to where those extra 8 points are heading towards. They certainly won't go towards Guillaume Deflandre or Tobias Dauenhauer or Simon Pilat, because they are first, second and fifth. So that's going to come from a car that's maybe someone like Giorgio Maggi had problems in the heat and will pick his way through, but it's all up for grabs. So then, guide you through the grid. Guillaume Deflandre on pole position, Tobias Dauenhauer alongside, Alessandro Brigatti and Philippe Bellensveld on row number 2, with Simon Pilat and Davide Dallara on row number 3. Vladimiris Joitsis and Fred Gabillon on 4, Leo Colavita and Ulysse Delso on 5, Stefano Gustavalle and Alain Muscaron on row 6. Then it's Santa Vauxhall and Miguel Gomez, Jakob Krafik and Patrick Hendricks. Row 9 sees Alberto Panabianco line up alongside Paul Giuffru. It's Chris Lehman and Gordon Barnes on row number 10, with Daniel Adam and Olda Stepanovsky on row number 12. Roy Hendricks and Yevgen Sokolovsky ahead of Rien Jensen and Maxi Heilek. Then it's Henry Tuamala and Justin Kuntz, Nave Teller and Giorgio Maggi, Andre Weigold and Francesco Caristo, who came together in their respective heats and both retired, lining up at the tail end of the field. And I'm not sure that Roy Hendricks had ridded up, actually, so he should have been sort of mid-order. Andre, your hand is aloft.
Yes, I know what happened to Roy Hendricks. I got the information. He has some computer problems and he had to retire early.
Thanks for that, Andre. I saw you hand raised, so I guess there was some news. So thank you for that. That's such a shame for Roy Hendricks that he is not going to be able to take part in the championship finals for a driver who's gone really, really well. I've got to say, he's 16th in the championship standings, Roy. He's only had one top 10 finish in the finals races. That came at Watkins Glen at round 3 of the championship. But he is a driver who is very, very quick. So remember, you'll see the various things coming up on your screen that tell you what's happening in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. You've seen those banners coming up throughout the broadcast this evening, all of the dates for when we go racing for real, starting with the opening rounds at what will be Valencia on the 15th and 16th of May. Keep your eye on those banners, because that gives you all of the dates that you need to know for the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in 2021. So Guillaume Deflandre and Tobias Dauenhauer have been so evenly matched all season. Guillaume Deflandre starts from pole. He's had 2 wins in the finals. He's had a 2nd place and a 4th position. Tobias Dauenhauer has had a win, a 2nd, a 3rd and a 4th. So he's finished in a different position in every single main race so far this season. But remember, he was the winner of the main race, the double championship points race, at this equivalent race meeting, the finals round for the 2020 EuroNASCAR Esports Series. So it's a circuit he likes. As he said to me after Heat 2, if you were listening, he wasn't happy with his qualifying lap. Thinks there's a little bit more to come out of his car. So it's a Ford and a Chevy and a Ford on row number 1, 2 Chevys on row number 2, 2 Chevys on row number 3. It's a Ford and a Toyota on row number 5, and another couple of Chevys on row number 6. We've got 3 Toyotas in the field, something like 8th, 14th and 22nd, but it's largely Chevys and Fords that make up the numbers. And we are about to get our final championship race of the EuroNASCAR Esports Series in partnership with i-cin.com and Sim Racing League Italy, with support from TJ and of course that fabulous support that we get from iRacing, having spoken to Otto Zebeni earlier on this evening. Buckle up for the final time in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. We go green at Circuit Zolder, and already Fred Gabion is in the barriers, and that's called problems further behind, as I think Santa Vuxatorian gets tangled up with him. But it's going to be Guillaume de Flandre that is side by side with Tobias Downhow round through Urs. There's contact between the two of them. De Flandre gets tagged a little bit sideways but still hangs on to the lead. Tobias Downhow now coming under pressure from Alessandro Brigatti, who can't prise the door open. Tobias Downhow gets a better run coming out of turn number 2 and is now in the lead of the pack as they head out of what was that section of the circuit. So that was Canal Box they were coming out of. So Tobias Downhower leads the race, and remember, if he wins, he's the champion. The car that we ride on board with, Guillaume de Flandre, in second place. If he wins, he's the champion. Alessandro Brigatti sitting there in third place. That car there, 166 Simon Palat, is fourth. Mathematically, he could win the championship if the leading pair have problems and take each other out. They're pushing each other through the Villeneuve chicane. A tap in the back of Tobias Downhower from Guillaume de Flandre. That almost compromised his exit and allows Alessandro Brigatti to squeeze his way through. It's the top 3 that have broken away. Simon Palat there in 4th place, Davide Dallara in 5th, and Philippe Beresvel in 6th position. But what an opening lap. A few little touches between the pair of them. Nothing sinister, nothing that was intentional, but just going to show how evenly matched these two drivers have been all season in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Alessandro Brigatti always pushing Guillaume de Flandre through the Jackie Ick chicane. Simon Palat with the best seat in the house, sitting there in 4th position. Davide Dallara's not too far back from him. And Philippe Beresvel, representing the Hockenheim circuit and American Fan Fest, completing the top 6. Remember, we head to Hockenheim for the American Fan Fest on the 17th and 18th of July 2020 is the scheduled date. But for the lead of the race, Tobias Downhower out the front and leading the race. Andre Weigold has already picked up 3 places from his starting position because the cars that had the problems at the start, the likes of Santa Vuxatori and Fred Gabion, have had issues, as has Gordon Barnes on the first lap as well. So he has tumbled all the way down to 30th position, the British driver. So on board with the 20-year-old Italian Alessandro Brigatti, bouncing over the curbs, finished 7th in the Esports Series last year, finished 3rd in the EuroNASCAR 2 standings as well. In 2020 did Alessandro Brigatti, was 11th in EuroNASCAR 2 in 2019, came out of FIA karting before that, and has been a real star in the making, has Alessandro Brigatti, just 20 years of age, the Italian. And he's not that far off, is he? The championship leader, Guillaume de Flandre. You can see how close they all are. But Tobias Downhower on this lap has just edged away. Purple through sectors 1, 2 and sector 3 on the second flying lap. So that means that he is faster than anybody has gone through those sectors, so should have increased his lead advantage at the end of the lap, as long as he's neat and tidy through the Jackie Ick chicane. Battle for, way down the order, 23rd place. We're looking at Reen Janssen now at the wheel of the 346 car, the newly liveried Marco Steep Motorsport car for this evening. Haven't mentioned how the cars are numbered actually previously, so if they are numbered less than 100, then those drivers compete in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division. If their car number starts with a 1, so they're in the 100s, they are a driver from EuroNASCAR 2. If they start with a 2, so they're in the 200s, it's a Club Challenge driver. That's a regularity test that we have in the EuroNASCAR weekends. If they are in the 300s, they are a team member. And if they start in the 400s, they're a NASCAR Whelen Euro Series guest, an influencer, or one of our track partners. Not mentioned that as yet this evening. We look back at Patrick Hendricks under pressure from Miguel Gomez, the two of them running side by side in towards the braking area for the cleaner chicane, and it looks as though it is going to be place gained there. Yeah, leaping over the curbs. In fact, no, it's Henry Tuamala that's gone past Patrick Hendricks, I should say. So it's the Finnish driver that goes past the man from the Netherlands. A wipe of the brow I can see on my camera from Andre Weigold, who's trying hard still and focusing in 30th position at the wheel of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series media team car. You can't miss it. It's Dayglow yellow and Dayglow green is his car. He is the last of the cars that is still circulating on the lead lap, because Santiago Sartori has lost a lap somewhere, the Finnish driver, following his problems at the race start. Now this is the fight for 9th place. Paul Giuffru looking to try and squeeze his way through and past. That's the car of Alberto Panebianco, who outbrakes himself and has to cut across the gravel. Is the contact on the way out? No, not quite. Paul Giuffru just gets the job done. Now he's a driver that is lying joint 5th in the championship standings coming into this evening. He was on 110 points, the same as Fred Gabillon. Let's have a quick look at this replay. That is Miguel Gomez. Oh dear me. Miguel Gomez cut across the gravel and then came right back on front of, I think that was Patrick Hendricks' car, the 307 Ford. So Miguel Gomez tapped into a spin as he was trying to safely rejoin, but yeah, probably just didn't quite realise how close cars were behind. Now this is Alessandro Brigatti, who's in the middle of a pack of 5 cars. The 2 cars ahead of him, first of which is Philip Beresfeld, the next of which is Vladimir Choitsis, but he's got 2 cars behind him, Ulysse Delso and Leo Colavita. So a quintet of cars. Choitsis goes very defensive in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Alessandro Brigatti bounces off the tail end of the Ford, and now that opens the door and allows Ulysse Delso to try and squeeze his way through. The former EuroNASCAR 2 champion, though, the Frenchman can't make it. Then there's more contact between Vladimir Choitsis and Alessandro Brigatti, who goes skittering across the grass, rejoins, but now rejoins behind the car of Ulysse Delso, who has made it through. Gordon Barnes being given a warning for causing an incident with Santiago Sartori on lap number 1. That was as they went up towards Urs the first corner, and we're now on board from the man from Cyprus, Vladimir Choitsis, looking back at this fantastic 5-car train that we've got behind. Stefano Gustavaglie losing out there as number 199, the back-to-back NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Club Challenge champion Alain Mouscaron goes through at the wheel of the 199 Chevy. Again, one of the many drivers representing DF1 Racing who've been hugely active on social media when it's come to the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Every single build up to the event and post-event, there's race reports and congratulations for all of their drivers who, I've got to say, yeah, on the whole have done a fantastic job for DF1 Racing throughout the whole of the 2021 Esports Series season. But Tobias Downhauer is out front and leading the race at this stage whilst the battles continue behind. We're looking at the moment for the battle for 4th and 5th place. This is Davide Dallara, still looking to try and hang on to the position. The Not Only Motorsport car under pressure from the Hockenheimring American Fan Fest car in the hands of Philip Beresfeld. 2 Chevys fighting away. As for the extra points for gaining the most places, well, at the moment we've got 2 drivers tied on 13 places gained since the start of the race. So if 2 drivers gain exactly the same amount of spots, it goes to whichever driver finishes ahead of the other. Well, at the moment, in 14th place, 13 places gained since the start, is number 23 Henry Tuamala, and in 15th place, 13 places gained, is number 99 Justin Kuntz. So they have both made good progress, and Giorgio Maggi, I said, was another one could be on for the extra 8 points. He's gained 10 places. He's in 19th place, the Swiss driver at the wheel of the number 18 Ford. So this is a half-an-hour race, so we start to see tyre degradation a little bit in this one. And I'm just going to have a quick chat to Andre Weigold, if I may, just to see as to on the longer stints, Andre, how have the tyres held up around this track on longer runs?
Yeah, they're falling off, of course. You have to be a little bit more careful in the braking zones to avoid the tires from locking up. But also you have to check the balance of the car. Right now I have a yellow flag in front of me. I don't know what happened. It says I have a slow car on the right, and I think it's
Fred Gabillon. Yeah, we're just getting a replay on our screens now of Fred doing a full 360 and rejoining. So it's been a tough night for Fred, hasn't it? We were hoping for good things from him.
Yes, he overtook me 2 or 3 laps ago, when he had this problem at the start, but then he came back. It's what I said. It's a 30-minute race. You have at least one chance to get back. But I think this time he just gave up because I saw the car disappearing on the track. And right now, okay, I gained a position against a guy who has multiple EuroNASCAR Pro second places, so I'm happy about that. And the next one I'm trying to catch is Maximilian Heilig, but this guy is incredibly fast.
Yeah, we just see a picture of your car now. It looks very unscathed again, but yeah, you are now ahead of a 3 times runner-up in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and a driver who's got more NASCAR Whelen Euro Series starts than anybody, and you're beating him. So there we go.
Those are the small things. Those are the small things.
Dine out on it for as long as you can. Well done, well done. So we'll leave Andre Weigold along. We'll catch up with him at the wheel of his car. Contact further back, I'm afraid to say. Alberto Panebianco gets tipped around, I think, by Leo Colavita. So that's Panebianco now having to get the car pointing in the right direction. The Not Only Motorsport Chevy, I think was tipped into a spin there by the Feed Vic car of Leo Colavita. So that means that Panebianco is now going to be down into 23rd position and has just lost the place to the Portuguese driver, Miguel Gomez. I mean, the number of nationalities involved. We've got Germans, Belgians, Italians, French, Cypriots, those from the Netherlands. We've got Finnish drivers. We've got somebody representing the Czech Republic, Switzerland, Israel, Portugal, Ukraine, Great Britain, and did I say France? I think so, yeah. So amazing amount of nationalities represented on the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series grid, as is the case year on year on year, and all of those nationalities represented in this esports series. This is older Stepanovsky. Now, what happens to the Autodrome Most car show? Oh, under braking, just lost the tail end of the car. He was going into, that looks like it's Lucien Bianchi-Bocht. So that's what's out at the back part of the circuit, where he just seemed to lose the tail end of the car on the brakes more than anything. Now we're on board with Czech driver Jakub Krafik, who is another one of our circuit partners representing Autodrome Most NASCAR show. He's the sports sales manager at Autodrome Most, a circuit that we will be visiting on the 19th and 20th of June with the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Great to be back in the Czech Republic. Fans absolutely love it. Let's hope that we are at that stage able to have the fans with us, because it's a fundamental part of why we all go racing, and really the experience and the fact that all of the drivers are available to the fans all of the time. It really is a not so much what goes on circuit, it's all the stuff that goes on off circuit at the various festivals that we have around the circuit, whether it be at Valencia, the Czech Republic, when we come to the UK to Brands Hatch, Germany, Croatia, Belgium, and of course, fingers crossed, the rearranged round that we'll have at Vallelunga in Italy as well. So we're now looking at the fight for 4th and 5th position. Davide Dallara, the number 89 car, in the hands of the Italian driver who finished 8th in the Esports Series last year, was the Challenger champion last year as well. The 28-year-old from Italy is coming under pressure from the former EuroNASCAR 2 champion who finished 5th in the Esports Series last year. And now they are slowing each other up. It's allowing Philippe Perezville to begin to close in, and the Ford of Vladimiros Choitzis. Julius Celso gets better drive coming out of Boulderback Booked, but can't draw himself alongside by the time they get to the Jackie chicane. Davide Dallara almost outbraked himself. Nice and neat and tidy though coming out of the Jackie chicane, so should hang on to it as they crest the top of the hill on the start-finish straight to start to go downhill again up towards the left-hander at Erst, which is a really difficult corner. Such a wide turn into it, very difficult to pick up the apex, but you need to carry as much speed through it as you can before you then head into turn number 2, which is where they're going now. Back booked through the right-hander at turn 3, and then straight the way around to turn number 3, which is Kanalbocht, and then from there the speeds build again up towards Lucien Bianchi-Bocht. Chris Lehman going well for Marco Stiep Motorsport. Inside the top 15 is the German, running as car number 300, so he's one of the team members. He's a driver who we've seen lots of this year, works with Marco Stiep Motorsport on the media team nowadays. Quick replay again. Now this is Yevgen Sokolovsky for Marco Stiep Motorsport. What happens to the Ukrainian? In towards Villeneuve chicane, just too much speed, tail end of the 48, just gets away from him, a quick 360, no damage done, will rejoin, but that is now going to drop Sokolovsky down into 24th position. I think he was another one of those drivers that was featured on the pit reports that Andre Weigold was talking about, Yevgen Sokolovsky, when he appeared with Marco Steep a few weeks ago. They're all available on YouTube, as he suggested, so do have a look at them, because it's a fantastic insight into the drivers and how they are, their true personalities when they're not in race mode in reality. They're just chatting away informally, and the one with Fred Gabion was absolutely hilarious. It was always going to be with Fred Gabion, who's one of many characters we have in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So this is our race leader. Not picked up on him for a while, but Tobias Downhauer leading comfortably by 1.9 seconds from Guillaume de Flandre. That's going to take a bit of making up, but we're still not even halfway through this race. We're only a few seconds away from reaching the halfway point as he heads up towards the cleaner chicane for now the 9th time. Exactly halfway around the circuit when they get to the cleaner chicane almost. It's about now, really. Sacrament Schelling, that's the halfway point of this 4-kilometre circuit. And for Tobias Downhauer, a driver who claimed the main championship race at this equivalent race meeting, the finals meeting last year, he's doing exactly what he needs to do so as to lift the championship crown and wrestle it really from the grasp of this guy here, which is Guillaume de Flandre, who I don't think at any point this season hasn't not been the leader of the championship, because he won the first round, whereas Tobias Downhauer finished second. He finished second in the second round, which Tobias Downhauer won, but that would still have put de Flandre in the lead. He won the third round at Watkins Glen. He finished fourth in the fourth round at Hockenheim, but that was still enough to give him a 6-point lead coming into this one. So at no point has Guillaume de Flandre done anything other than be the championship leader. And how cruel it would almost be. I mean, delight for Tobias Downhauer if he stays where he is, but how cruel would it be that at the very final race, the championship lead is snatched away from him? But that's racing side by side for 4th and 5th. Ulysse Delceau with Davide De Lara. Queuing up behind them is Philippe Beresvel, who's now trying to get the jump on the Frenchman, whilst Davide De Lara is still at the head of this 5-car train now, really, because looks so Vladimir Choitsis and Alessandro Brigatti want to join in the fun as well. De Lara almost, I thought, outbraked himself heading up towards Erst there. Almost ran a little bit wide. Philippe Beresvel has now managed to leapfrog Ulysse Delceau, who was trying to gain the place over De Lara, and has now actually lost the place to Philippe Beresvel. And as they all charge their way through Canal Box now, and down the short straight in towards Lucien Bianchi-Bocht, it is a great fight. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all pretty much together. Davide De Lara at the front of the queue. The 108 Chevy in the hands of Alessandro Brigatti at the tail end of the queue. Bouncing over the curbs through the cleaner chicane, over Sacrament Schelling, and then in towards the Villeneuve chicane. After the Villeneuve chicane, you instantly turn right on the exit at turn number 10 up towards Laman-Bocht, which is where they're heading through now, and then the speeds start to build again as they head over the crest, the unnamed little left-hand kink, and in towards the heavy braking area for Boulderbach-Bocht, which is turn number 12, and then 13 and 14, the flat-out kinks on the way out of the corner, which is Jochenrinkbucht. We're now 17 and a half minutes into this race. And the battle's still continuing. Philippe Beresvel almost made contact with Davide De Lara there. Davide De Lara nearly outbraked himself. So I think Philippe Beresvel is now going to be up into 4th place. Ulysse Delceau moves up into 5th. Davide De Lara down into 6th position. So tightly packed they are. One small mistake there from the Italian. I'm not sure there was contact. It was certainly close. Not sure there was contact. If there was, it was light. But Davide De Lara, the outcome is, has lost 2 places there. But we've still got 5 cars fighting away. Ulysse Delceau trying to get himself alongside Philippe Beresvel. Then eventually decides that, yeah, better tuck myself back in here, because if I leave the door open trying to go side by side, I might lose a place, just like Davide De Lara did. And all of this squabbling, I wouldn't rule out the fact that the car in the distance might close up as well. Let's just have a quick look at this. This is Leo Colavita, who is running with Chris Lehman. Does he just tag the tail end of Chris Mino? Leo Colavita coming into the pit lane, so drive-through penalty it must be for Leo. So in towards the pit lane comes the 16-year-old Italian. Lives in America with his family, does Leo nowadays. Family involved in olive oil distribution. Done a lot of karting in the past as Leo Colavita. It's good to see him back in the series, having had sporadic outings in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series in 2020. Now, Ulysse Delso still hot on the heels of Philip Beresval. Drive-through penalty for Leo Colavita was for causing contact with Alberto Panibianco, so that was why we saw that drive-through penalty taking place. Leaping over the curbs goes Breen Jensen, the Dutch driver, trying to hunt down the car that lies ahead of him, which is Leo Colavita, having just completed his drive-through penalty. Other battles. Now, this is Nave Tallo. We haven't seen a lot of Nave over the course of this evening. He's been involved in all of the races, but we just haven't really picked up on him. He's having a good little fight for 17th and 18th place. So it's the Not Only Motorsport Chevy with the Patrick Hendricks-driven Hendricks Ford that sits behind. Patrick Hendricks is brother to Roy Hendricks, the man behind Hendricks Motorsport. And here is Henry Tuamala, the 32-year-old Finnish driver, coming under big pressure here from Stefano Gustavaya. Stefano finished 20th in the Esports Series last year, so he's a team member, one of the engineers for Cal Racing at the wheel of the 54 car usually. That's why he runs as 354. And both Henry Tuamala and Stefano Gustavaya are having a good little squabble here with Alain Mousqueron. Alain Mousqueron, who is, 29 years of age, the Frenchman, back-to-back Club Challenge champion for 2019 and 2020. Did a bit of Sodi kart racing in France in the past. He was the champion in that in 2017. He was a runner-up in 2018. And Miguel Gomez this time. Penalty for Miguel Gomez for causing an incident with Alberto Panibianco. So that's a drive-through penalty for our Portuguese driver that's joined us this evening. Such a shame for him. 41 years of age is Miguel Gomez. Chunk of karting in the past. Bit of sim racing for the last 10 years or so. And as I said earlier, I think he's raced pickup trucks in the UK and done some European late model racing. As we go on board with Guillaume de Flandre sitting there in second place, but now you can see he is 7 seconds off the lead. The reason being that he's coming under increasing pressure from Simon Palat, who gets a really good run. And Simon Palat is going to go through into second position here. Now, is he going to be able to hang on to it? No, not quite. Oh, almost contact between the pair of them. Bouncing over the curbs goes de Flandre. So desperate to hang on to second was he. And he gets a better drive coming out of the corner. Simon Palat, I think, was keen to avoid any contact, and as a result actually lost a little bit of time. And those two cars now are closing in on Andre Weigold. The car's in second and third places, so he'll be receiving the blue flag from iRacing. He won't want to get involved in the championship battle, Andre, and it's very sensibly, I'm sure, he's just going to blend out of the throttle on the way out of Jochenring booked and Boulderback booked, and just let them work their way through. So our race leader Tobias Dauenhauer already through. There goes Andre. Yeah, absolutely. Doing what exactly I knew he would do. Very sensible, very gentlemanly driver is Andre Weigold, and has allowed the squabble to go through. So much better. You learn way more letting the quick cars through than you ever do trying to hold them up. Just sit behind them and you learn so much more. Alberto Panibianco, 10-second stop-go penalty for an unsafe rejoin on lap number 7. So that was following an incident. Just didn't look at his mirrors or look at the relatives that you get when you're racing in the game as to where you are compared to other cars. Oh, Vladimir Choices gets sideways going out of the corner, and as he was sideways there was contact between himself and Davide Dallara. Now Choices got away with it, but poor old Davide Dallara got briefly bumped into the barriers there, the 28-year-old Italian. So he's now down into 9th position, having been running, in 4th, wasn't it, not so long ago, and that will mean that his Chevy now is carrying a little bit of damage. So let's just have another quick look at it. So, right, okay, Davide Dallara was slow going into the corner, Choices was sideways coming out, and then there was the contact, right. So it was, I think, Davide Dallara, a little mistake, and then in the background Stefano Gustavaya goes rally crossing at the wheel of the Cal Racing Chevy. So it's all kicking off. We've got 7.5 minutes still to go. We've still got some great battles going on as well. We're now looking at Paul Giuffru, who's trying to hunt down Alessandro Brigatti at the wheel of the 108 Chevy. Brigatti was a little bit sideways and shortcut the middle section of the Villeneuve chicane there. He's under pressure. Paul Giuffru from Vladimiris Choitsis, so the two Fords ganging up on the Chevy that lies ahead. And there's only 6 minutes remaining now. Giuffre having a quick look at the inside of Brigatti. Brigatti tried to toast the door, but Giuffre was already there. He gets spun around as a full 360. Well, I think the door was open. Now, couldn't quite see it. A replay would be great of that one, just to see how far back Paul Giuffre came from. But the upshot is that Brigatti lost the position. Let's have a quick look here. Great stuff by Stefano, our race director. Let's have a look. Well, he did come from a fair way back. No, absolutely not. No, that was not on. That was Paul Giuffre's fault, I'm afraid. He was a bit too far back, tagged the rear quarter of Alessandro Brigatti. So Paul Giuffre there, for me, the culprit. But thankfully, being the commentator and not in race control, I don't have to worry about making the decisions. Guillaume de Flandre is still having to work so hard to try and keep Simon Palat behind. At the moment, Tobias Downhour is heading towards the championship because he leads by 9 seconds. If Simon Palat finishes in second place and de Flandre finishes in third, de Flandre would still be runner-up in the championship. So Simon Palat, even if he gained the place, would still finish third in the championship standings, which is where he is coming into this evening. So the overtake would not matter. Warning for Yevgen Sokolovsky for causing an incident with Older Stepanovsky. That was on lap number 11. We are now on lap number 16, our race leader. And this is a great fight still for second and third. So even if the 1660 F1 racing car manages to sneak through and ahead of Guillaume de Flandre, who's racing for Speedhouse, it will not affect the championship finishing positions for the pair of them. Palat would still finish third in the championship standings. Guillaume de Flandre, who we look at ahead, would still finish as the runner-up. And this isn't aiding de Flandre's cause. This squad, Palat throws it up the inside, heading in towards us, snatches the brakes as he tries to avoid the contact. Doesn't run too wide coming out of Erst. So 4 minutes to go. Time and opportunities running out for Simon Palat if he wants to gain a position. We have not seen Simon Palat win a main race so far this year. I don't think we've actually seen him win one of his heats, but he's always been there or thereabouts as Simon Palat. There's still one car parked to the side of the circuit there, which I think might be Francesco Garisto, who's still stranded somewhat, coming out of turn 4. So that's Lucian Bianchi box. The straight that leads between that and the cleaner chicane is where his car's been facing the wrong way for a couple of laps. There it is. It's just going nowhere, is it? So not quite sure why the car's still stuck there, but the drivers have been past that a couple of times, so they will know that it's there. And to be fair, it is also off the racing line, part of it on the circuit, but part of it on the grass, and with it being off the racing line, shouldn't really be a problem for anybody. More traffic just coming up the road though. This could be a problem for Guillaume de Flandre here, because they are about to catch, I think, Miguel Gomez, Rien Janssen, and maybe Older Stepanovsky, who you can just see in the distance up the road there. 3 minutes to go. Rate of close may well mean that the drivers will catch. As for the extra 8 championship points for the driver that so far has gained the most paces from his starting position, well, started 27th, is now in 10th position. That's number 23, Henry Tuamala, with 13 places gained. As Simon Palat gets the overlap on Guillaume de Flandre, and this time heading down in towards the braking area for Erst, the two Belgian drivers, and Simon Palat has the inside line heading through turn 1. It looks as though de Flandre tries to brave it out around the outside at turn 1. Good driving, good respect from them both, side by side through turn 1. De Flandre has the inside line for turn number 2, but then runs a little bit wide, so they switch back, and Palat gets the inside line for the next corner, retakes it, so took the place heading down the start-finish straight. Such was the bravery of de Flandre on the outside at turn number 1. He had the inside line for turn number 2, but then ran wide coming out of it. And Simon Palat goes back through, and they are still together as they head in towards the braking area for the cleaner chicane with 2 minutes remaining in this race. They will catch the traffic. I'm not sure that it's going to be anything other than towards the very tail end of this lap. So through and in towards the Villeneuve chicane. De Flandre almost pushing. It was almost a bump and run there to try and get the place back from Simon Palat, but there was just that small amount of daylight between the pair of them. So it's Simon Palat still in second place. Remember, he's grabbed the place, but for the championship, it's not going to improve his championship position. He would still finish third in the championship, even though he's got the place away from the driver who was the championship leader coming into this evening. But it's all starting to go the way now of Tobias Downhour, who grabbed the lead nice and early on, and has now pulled away to the tune of 11 seconds. All Tobias Downhauer needed to do was finish ahead of Guillaume de Flandre if they were fighting for the lead, and that would have been enough. And now that de Flandre is down into third position, he's starting to see his championship aspirations evaporate. So he's always led the championship. At no point has he not been in the lead of the championship since the very first round of the series that took place at Daytona on the road course. Then we went to Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit, Watkins Glen, the Hockenheimring and Circuit Zolder. But with 30 seconds to go now, are we going to see the 23-year-old German Tobias Downhauer lift the championship crown? He's heading in towards the cleaner chicane for the final time. Hendricks Motorsport potentially on course for 40 championship points for the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Team Championship as well. And we've seen the number 50 car in the hands of the likes of Giorgio Maggi and co go so well in the main championship over the course of the last few seasons. So an extra 40 points for them could prove very handy. Loris Hazemans, isn't it, who's been driving the 50 car with Tobias Downhauer this year in EuroNASCAR 2. And subject to what Loris is doing next year, and if he's sharing a car again with Tobias, an extra 40 championship points because of this victory that is about to come as he heads through the Jackie chicane for the final time. Congratulations, following the footsteps of our inaugural EuroNASCAR Esports champion, which was Andre Castro, who claimed the title last year. Tobias Downhauer claims the win, and subject to official confirmation, is the 2021 EuroNASCAR Esports Series champion in conjunction and partnership with i-cn.com and simracingleague.it. So he comes through to grab the win. De Flandre did get past Simon Palat on that final lap as well. So Guillaume de Flandre finished second on the road in the end. Simon Palat finishes in third place. So the top three in this race will actually be the top three in the championship in the end. Philippe Burresveld with another good result for him for Hockenheim FanFest comes home and finishing fourth place. Ulysse Delceau is in fifth place. Paul Dufresne, I think, is serving a penalty. He's gone towards the pit lane. So sixth will be Vladimiris Joitsis. Seventh place will be Alessandro Brigatti. I think Paul Dufresne will be classified potentially in eighth place. Let's have a quick look. This was Guillaume de Flandre. Was it at the final corner? Yes, it was. Lock brakes from Simon Palat, who had to cut through the gravel. Guillaume de Flandre had more momentum on the exit of the corner, and that was how he took second place back in the race at the very final corner with that mistake from Simon Palat. Fantastic work, Stefano, our director, for picking up on that replay. I wondered how he got through. So the drivers will start to drop their way in towards the commentary box. Once all of the cars are over the start-finish line, we can then bring you up a graphic that will confirm all of the results, but subject to official confirmation. The top three in the race will be the top three in the championship. Tobias Downhauer should be ultimately the champion and will have had 222 championship points. Guillaume de Flandre would be 218 championship points, so he'd be 4 points behind. And Simon Palat, who finished third, would be on 187 points, if I've got the mathematics right. So the drivers started to drop into our commentary booth, but let's just run you through the results then. Tobias Downhauer claims the win and the championship. Guillaume de Flandre in second place will ultimately finish as the runner-up in the series this year, with Simon Palat in third in the race. Philippe Burresveld was fourth, ahead of Ulysse Delceau and Vladimiris Joitsis, who were fifth and sixth. Completing the top 10 were in seventh place Alessandro Brigatti, eighth was Stefano Gustavaglia, ninth was Davide Delara, and 10th was Henry Tuamala. Just outside of the top 10 in 11th was Alan Muscaron from Chris Lehman, Justin Kuntz, Jakob Krafek, and in 15th place, Daniel Adam. Patrick Hendricks was 16th. Navi Talla was 17th place. Paul Dufresne was 18th, ahead of Leo Colavita and Gordon Barnes, who wrap up the top 20. 21st was Yevgen Sokolovsky, ahead of Older Stepanovsky. Reen Jensen, Miguel Gomez, and Maxi Heilig were in through to 25th position. Andrew Weigold was 26th, ahead of Alberto Canabianco, Francesco Garisto, Giorgio Maggi, Gabion, Santa Victoria, Roy Hendricks, and Levi Lintercanto. So donuts being done in celebration of the final round of the series, and I think it's about time, for the first time this evening, we can say, Tobias Downhauer, congratulations, you're the Esports Series champion.
Yeah, many thanks. It was a perfect race for me. I'm so happy that this year I was able to get the championship. Yeah, just perfect.
It was so close all season. It was so close in the early stages, but again, somehow you just got the break.
Yeah, of course. It was a really strong championship the whole season on. Really fast drivers. it was a great fight with Gilom the whole season on, and yeah, good fun.
I mean, the two of you have been so close all season. I think that race now, at the end of it, once we've seen the checker flag, that's the only time Guillaume de Flandre has not led the championship all season. It's the only time you have led it, and you've led it the most important round.
Yes, of course. I knew this is a double points weekend, so I invest a lot of time for this race, and I trained a lot. So now I claimed the win, so I'm so happy, and yeah, just feeling awesome.
We know in the team's championship last year, the number 50 Hendricks Ford went really well in your hands and in the hands of Loris Hazemans. An extra 40 championship points before the season's even started. That could come in very handy.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, Loris hadn't the time to do the ENES this year. But yeah, I'm happy to put number 50, in my case 150 car, the Momo Ford Mustang on the first position in the championship. And can't wait to get the real season started.
Well, thanks for the moment, Tobias. We will come back and have a very final chat with you just before we sign off this evening, so don't disappear. We'll head on down through our drivers. I can also see that joining me in the commentary box, we have Simon Palat is here. We do not have, I can't see Guillaume de Flandre is in the commentary box. So we'll have a quick chat with Simon Palat, who finished in third position in the end. Simon, it looked like you were heading towards second place, but a very slight mistake at the final corner.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'm happy I secured third place on the championship, so that's the most important. I was a bit disturbed with the blue flags, and the pressure was just incredible with Guillaume, and we had such a big battle. So it was really nice, but the pressure was really high. So I made a little mistake, unfortunately. But I showed I came back on Guillaume, and that I managed to pass him. So I really had a good rhythm. So it was really nice.
It was a great fight between you. The two of you were side by side over the start-finish line. You had the inside line for turn number one, which is Erst, but you went side by side through turn number one, which gave Guillaume the inside line for turn number two, and you managed to get back past him on the run into turn number three. Great respect, side by side racing, pure racing.
Yes, it was really nice, and then he managed to just stay behind me. There was a little touch, but it happened so quickly with these cars, so it was just racing. But it was nice because we both have, I think, a high level and respect for each other. So that's just the best way to have nice battles in these.
And final question, Simon. When you took second place away from Guillaume, did you know that ultimately, even though you were a place ahead of him, it would still mean that you'd finish third in the championship? It wouldn't affect the championship standings?
Yes, I knew, but I really wanted. Last year I had a podium here, so I wanted to last year I had a fight with Alain Day, and then this time it's Guillaume. So I tried, and unfortunately it didn't happen. But hopefully, maybe next time we'll have a better place.
Well done. There's always a next time. Well done, Simon. Congratulations on third in the race and third in the Esports Series. Guillaume de Flandre has now joined us in the commentary box. Guillaume, I'm sure you must be disappointed. You've led the championship all season, but this evening didn't quite work for you in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's okay. It's racing, but the final was complicated. My pace was good, but the degradation of the tire was too important. I think you see that. I couldn't keep my pace, but Tobias was really fast, and the last laps, a nice battle between me and Simon. Simon was really faster than me at the end of the race, but I tried to keep my second place, but it was really difficult.
You look at this season, you must be really pleased with the performance that you've had, and whilst this is racing in the virtual world, when we can get back racing for real, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with again, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I am. But I think the second place is not too bad. But yeah, I prefer the P1. Everybody won the P1. Yeah, absolutely. But I think maybe for the next season in World or Virtual, I don't know. But it was fun. Yeah, very fun.
Well done. Congrats. You've kept us entertained all season, and so brave, as talking to Simon, so brave, the two of you going side by side round through turn number one. Great respect, great driving. Well done all season. So there we go. There's Guillaume de Flandre. Let's bring in Philippe Beresvel, who finished in 4th place in the end. Philip, you've not been in for the full season, but when we have seen you, my goodness me, you've been quick.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to was able to drive this series with the Hockenheimring car. Thank you for everyone in the Hockenheimring team. Wasn't the best evening today. Haven't had quite that much practice like the last 2 races, only about 1 hour in front of the event today. So I'm very happy with the result today with P4.
I mean, how you're not in for the full season, but you're a quick driver and you want to do well. So, how difficult is it coming into, say, this final race where you want to put in a performance, but equally as much you don't want to get in the way of drivers that are fighting for the championship?
Oh, it was very hard to be honest, especially in lap 1, when Chilam and Tobias were fighting, and me and who was it? I think Alessandro was it, fighting as well. To not get caught in any incident as a guest driver. That, yeah, just lucky to not get into any incident today.
Back for more next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let's hope that we do it. So, congratulations, Philip Beresvel, as well. I just want to bring back in our champion Tobias Downhauer for another little chat before we then maybe get some final words and thoughts from Andre Weigold, and maybe Gianluca Guiglia might want to join us as well. Ulysse Delceau was dropped in, so we'll grab a quick word with Ulysse if we can, because Ulysse finished in 5th position. So if you're there, Ulysse, you're on mute at the moment, but congratulations, 5th place in this race. A hard-fought race from you. You were always having somebody to fight with. Ulysse is still muted at the moment, so I don't think we're going to get Ulysse at the moment if he doesn't take his microphone off mute. So we'll head back to Tobias Downhauer and come to Ulysse Delceau if we can. So Tobias, yeah.
Hello.
There we go. Hey, Ulysse.
Sorry, I was late.
No problem. 5th position this evening. It was a busy race for you.
Yes, but in it one I was pushing and I was behind Fred, but I wanted to be qualifying for the race. I finished, I think, 5. And but at the start, Fred was crashing. I'm sorry for him, but I was behind David Dallara. It was a great battle with him and with Philippe. Yes, it was fun, but it was a shame because I was not here in Watkins Glen. But at Hockenheim, I was make 2 mistakes. But to be in P5 for this race, it's great. It's great for me.
I know. I saw you on Facebook. You're working hard on your fitness at the moment, ready for the start of the real racing season.
Yes, I hope so. I'm working to be here, and I hope.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ulysse. Well done on 5th position. Congratulations. Very well done.
Congratulations to Tobias and yes, see you. I hope so to see you on the wheel track this season.
I hope so too. Yeah. So thanks for chatting to us, Ulysse. I'll just bring Tobias Downhauer, our second ever EuroNASCAR Esports champion, back in. Maybe just for a final few words, Tobias. You've got a great team behind you. You've got a great car. You've obviously got lots of talent. Can't wait to get racing for real when we start at Valencia.
Yes, of course. I'm looking forward to the start in Valencia. I'm feeling very good at the moment, and I have a very good team on my side with Hendrix Motorsport. So, yeah, I can't wait anymore, and now it's time for the real season.
Yeah, I think you deserve a nice German cold beer this evening to celebrate. So well done. You're our champion.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And I have to say many thanks to the EuroNASCAR, the whole organization, to Gianluca for this amazing series. It was a good fun the whole season, and I think we put a great show together. And yeah, thank you. Amazing series.
Thanks a lot. There we go, Tobias. So that's the last of the drivers we are going to chat to that have finished at the sharp end of the grid. But we're going to chat to one final driver because he's a member of the media team and he's been my co-commentator all season as well. Andre Weigel. Andre, we've come to the end of the season. I think Gianluca Guiglia is going to join us in this as well. What another fantastic season. Hard work by the media team in the background to put it all together, and Gianluca in particular. But you've enjoyed it both from a media perspective and a driver's perspective. It's been good fun, hasn't it, Andre?
Yeah, it was just great. I'm sorry for all those drivers who were not interviewed. They were better than me. They were almost everybody was better than me. But yeah, we did a lot of work in the background, especially Gianluca. He's working day and night to make things like this happen, and he's coming up with fresh ideas and stuff like that. And he's doing a great job. And I think we all doing our best to support him and the series to make the next steps. And I had the iRacing time of my life in this race. I had a great battle with Maxi Heilek for, I think, 10 laps or something like this. We were bumper to bumper. We were fighting. He was blocking a lot. I think I was a little bit faster than him. But then I overshot one of the corners. I hit him a little bit. But afterwards, I gave back the position because I think that's what a fair driver is doing.
Yeah.
When you gain a position unfair, you give it back. And I gave it back in the last lap. I tried everything to overtake him, but it was just not possible. To be honest, I knew he wasn't in the mix. So I was really trying everything I could. I was really driving hard this time. And he was driving very hard, blocking all the time, trying to avoid any maneuver from me. So it was iRacing pure. For me, it was just fun. I was smiling here. Even when I finished behind him, it was just amazing. And I think this is when I feel it here at my wheel at home. This is what all of the drivers are feeling at home. It's competitive. It's fun. It's something to show your skills in a completely new environment that is growing very fast. And I think the EuroNASCAR Esports Series were one of the first professional esports series in motorsports and the first one that took a real life impact with the team championship in it.
Yeah.
It's an innovation, and I think we can use that as a good foundation, a good basic benchmark to continue growing the stuff in the sim racing world.
It's been great working with you, Andre. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Gianluca Guiglia, the man behind this series who puts all the hard work. His microphone's come off mute, so it's only fair that I have a quick word with Gianluca because you'll have seen him in the pit reports that Andre was talking about as well. Gianluca, end of another season. You can't sleep. There's still work to do. You've got to calculate all the championship points and do all the press releases tomorrow. But without you, mate, we couldn't do it.
Well, it's the same for you. Without you, it couldn't be possible. Without you, without the drivers, our great drivers and teams, without Stefano and all the production, the guys at the CIN, and of course, without Jerome Galpen and the Galpen family allowing us to do this. So, well, I hope you had fun, guys. I had. I definitely had, and I can't wait to do it again. This is how crazy we are.
I think we've all had fun. Race control might suggest otherwise. Their night might go on a bit longer than ours. So no. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you mentioned Stefano. Thank you to Stefano, our television director. But that's it. We have now wrapped up our 2021 EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Huge congratulations to our champion Tobias Dauenhauer. Commiserations to Guillaume de Flandre, who was leading the championship all season. We couldn't do it without i-can.com and Sim Racing League IT, together with our fantastic partners like TJ and, of course, Whelen, who support us, our new tyre partners, Hosier, and, of course, iRacing. It was great to catch up with Otto Stebany earlier on this evening, and we love their continued support, and their iRacing branding will be on the Cars for Real in the 2021 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. But from all of us, hope you've enjoyed it, and don't forget that we get things racing for real. You've seen the banners coming up all this evening. We get racing for real on the 15th and 16th of May when we head to Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia for rounds 1 and 2 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series 2021. So from all of us, good evening, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.